Hey guys, welcome back to the Writer's Room. On this week's episode, we are talking about The Conjuring 2, or as we like to call it, The Conjuring, The Deuce.
Welcome back to the Writer's Room. Today we are talking about James Wan's The Conjuring Part 2.
The Deuce 2.
I'm one of your hosts, Katie Moeller.
And I am Matt.
I'm Michael.
And of course, we're coming to you from HollywoodRedux.com. So if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube page or visited our site, do so by clicking the link below and check out all of our fun stuff there.
Lots of fun stuff.
But for now, spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about The Conjuring 2, everything about it, very detailed. So if you have not seen the film and you do not want to be spoiled, now is the time to turn this review off, go see the movie, come back and see us, or check out some of our older reviews of movies you may have already seen. But let's get right to it then.
All right, let's get to it.
The Conjuring 2 was about...
It was about, I will take your energy and...
It's about Ed and Lorraine Warren. This is the second time we've seen them from James Wan. The first one in The Conjuring, they took care of Ron Livingston and his family in a wonderful possession case. It's a heartwarming family story. It was brilliant. I think that was actually James Wan's best film to date, was The Conjuring.
It was a great film.
Some people might disagree with me, but I thought it was brilliant.
Well, people love Insidious, but I think in terms of story, I think The Conjuring is probably the best story because it does the same thing it did in the sequel, which is it takes some family that's going through some emotional experience and it makes it a story about that, as opposed to it's all the scary stuff popping out at you.
And in The Conjuring, Ed and Lorraine Warren are brought to England in order to help save another family who is being haunted by a demonic entity. Who they think of as an old man named Bill.
Bill.
Bill!
Good old Bill. But in the end, it turns out it's not Bill. It's an even more powerful demon that's controlling Bill and forcing Bill to stay here and haunt this family. And he wants Janet, not the youngest daughter, right? No.
Middle.
He wants
Middle daughter.
Middle daughter, Janet.
Janet. He wants the daughter. Cool.
Why?
Well, okay, so here's my question. Does anyone know the answer to this? Why did the nun demon go all the way to England if the nun demon just wanted to get the Warrens? That's what I couldn't put together. I think
it was Valak. The demon is Valak. I don't think necessarily he's there to get the Warrens. I think the Warrens are a casualty of war in that, and he gave a premonition to Lorraine.
Ah, okay.
She was able to get it.
You know, because a demon doesn't just hang out in the States. You know, he can go anywhere. And I think that's just the...
Are those the rules?
And here's the thing. I mean, like, in The Exorcist, in any horror movie where there's, like, possession or something like that, there's usually a symbol that something takes that would frighten you. And for the Warrens, who are very religious, you know, and base most of their practice in religion, you know, they are, you know, scared of something that was, like, I guess... angelic, a priesthood or a nun.
Well, it was
being
because
a demon.
it was because Patrick Wilson, because Ed had that story about the nun who told him that God is always with him. So it took the form of the nun to throw it back in Patrick Wilson's face. I interpreted that's all the story that I interpreted was that he the demon showed that face to enhance the fear because it was saying like, oh, God is always with you. Guess what? No, you're wrong. God isn't here when we're here together.
Yeah, I mean, it's... So, reluctantly, the Warrens go. It's around Christmas. It's the week of Christmas in this movie. And in real life, this did happen in real life. It's based on a true story. I don't know how much of the actual story...
Was used
and how much was, dramatized for the movie. But overall, this is a really cool story. I mean, they reluctantly go after, investigating the Amityville... house after the Lutzes moved out.
That was cool.
Which is really cool. If you've ever seen the actual ghost photo from that investigation, which is real, a lot of people think it's fake. Well, I mean, it's up to you to believe if you believe it's real or not. But the photo itself is a genuine photo. And it's online, and it's of a little boy with white, pale eyes. And it's horrifying. And that is what we get to see in real life, and that photo has always scared me in real life. Mm-hmm. So seeing the casting, which was perfect for that little boy, and seeing that little boy wander through and bring her down to the basement and things like that, and that whole sequence in Amityville was awesome. I loved it. I know we've seen Amityville movies like crazy. I know we've it's a dead horse at this point. Like, we've seen plenty of those films. Mm-hmm. We know the story. So I thought it was great. But unfortunately, they did, James Wan did something that he did with, like, Annabelle in The Conjuring, the first Conjuring, which was, he did a great intro. Yeah. So you wanted to see more of that story. I wanted to see more of the Amityville. Like, seeing Lorraine walk around and just do everything that William DeFeo was doing in the house, was really cool and scary,
Well, I think that was the idea that we are getting the Amityville horror. We're getting the Amityville of England. That the Amityville in the States has been told, but you haven't seen its second chapter for the Warrens.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess
for the
would be the
Warrens
idea.
especially. That makes sense.
And it's a very similar thing where there was turmoil in a family and then there was violence. So you see kind of the same.
Yeah, and I mean, it was
Except for it's English. It's an English story this time, which James Wan is English, right?
no, he's from New Zealand.
Ah, sorry, James. I'm a big fan. I didn't know that.
He's fantastic. Yeah.
I think I did know that.
Whatever. It still works. He's still a great filmmaker, regardless.
I love his
Fantastic work.
directing in this.
Yeah, James Wan. I think, like I said earlier, I think The Conjuring 1 is probably one of his best directed films. It's got some of the best camera work. Seems like he put the most thought into all of his moves and everything he did. This film didn't really have so much of that for me, probably because he was doing Fast 7, and then he was getting tapped to do Aquaman. Like, maybe he just kind of got pulled in too many different directions, and he wasn't able to, focus as much as he did on the first Conjuring film. But, so it didn't feel so unique in a sense of the camera moves, but I did love
them.
the film. I mean, the film was great. It felt a little bit more like Insidious in the sense of the camera movements and things like that, instead of The Conjuring. But overall, I thought his direction was great. I thought the story was great. I liked the writing. None of it was too cheesy. And they did a really great job with making you sit there. They made you work for the scare. Even though there was a pop-out scare from here, time to time, or a loud bang or something like that, it was always like, oh, God, when is it going to happen? It was just a lot of let's make all the sound go away. It's not there where you generically think it is. It's over here, fuck! Yeah, so it's so it was really cool. I like that. I like that a lot.
The sound design played really well. I liked especially that when we would cut to scenes of the family sleeping, it would be you heard the sound of quiet. James Wan showed you what quiet sounded like because you could audibly hear the sound of quiet in the house, and it sounded dead quiet. And then when those little creaks and things would come in, then they were even more effective in building the tension and building the scare. Yeah, it was the sound design. I think in this was something I paid attention to way more than in other horror movies / James Wan movies.
And I also like the lighting a lot, even though there wasn't anything too special about this film. I felt like in The Conjuring there was a lot of life, there was a lot of color to the palette, and in this film it was very pale and very white. Normally in movies you'll see bluish light at night, and it was a lot of just white, pale, desaturated, a look to it. And I kind of really dug it for this film. Usually I've been more recently I've been into a lot of color. Obviously, as you can see by our backgrounds here and all the lighting in here. I love color. But this was so pale, and it really worked for me because it made all the objects in the house much more intimidating. So everything around the environment was so pale. So the chair, when you saw the chair, that was leather-bound chair where Bill died, and then where eventually Peggy died in real life. Why the fuck did you hold on to that chair, Peggy?
What?
Why didn't you get that chair?
Because they're English.
Light it on fire the second that happened.
It's a symbol. The English have this propensity toward not being able to rectify their sadness. Basically, they're sad about bad stuff that happened to them, but they don't atone for it and move on. It just keeps the sadness. So it's so the chair is, we're not gonna do anything about the sadness in this house. Look at the house is run down. It's dilapidated. There's a dead person chair sitting here. We're not gonna throw the chair out. We're not going to do anything to fix the things that are bad. We're just going to keep bearing under the demonic oppression.
What?
But it's
what kind of logic is that?
That's what I'm saying. You can't. The people in the story can't change that until they change it. So the story happens to them, and then they change it, and then they move on from that.
No.
Although
I needed a fucking drink after that. I was like, why aren't you people taking this chair out of here?
I hope Janet did this right and threw it out.
No.
She got it right after her mom passed away in the same spot, same chair.
No, because they're English. Guarantee somebody else got the chair.
Somebody else is still
moved
using
into that house
chair
and bought
today.
the chair. Yeah.
Janet, just don't sit in that chair.
It turns your ass evil.
Yeah,
You don't want to do it.
It's. I mean, that's the kind of the story is like the guy the guy who died. I mean, was obviously like a sad person. He had a sad
Lonely death. Yeah.
He died in a sad way, and
Ultimately, he was haunted at the end, and then
I mean, he was the real victim in all this because poor Bill had a bad life. He lived in that sad house. Then he died alone in that sad chair. And then even when he died, he didn't get any peace. But you know what? It's his own fault because he says, I don't believe in that stuff. Like he told you all the reasons why he wasn't able to find peace.
Yeah.
So he got stuck too in that same way, in that same damn chair.
Yeah.
In the sitting and the death and the sadness and the, what allows that demonic presence to come in.
He was horrifying.
If you get up out of the chair and walk out of the room, what happens? Do you get to maybe move on?
No, I don't think it really matters because, like, even when the family stayed in the neighbor's house across the street, the crooked man was able to follow him over there. You know, Bill was able to follow him over there, which that was horrifying. That was one of the scariest sequences in the whole thing. The little bell, you think it's the dog, and the boy goes out there and you see the dog, and I'm like, but then all of a sudden the dog just stands up and is like, ah! I actually heard you just go, here we go. Like, right?
Oh, no.
And that was cool. Like, I feel like James Wong maybe saw the Babadook. Because I felt like that was all of a sudden kind of stop motion-y a little bit, or at least just twitchy kind of.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of the way the Babadook moved.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that was maybe it. Maybe it's just me, but I felt like it was kind of, maybe he was stealing like an artist. That's okay. But like, I feel like that wasn't something that we had kind of seen before in this universe that we've kind of set up already. I was expecting to kind of see some of the similarities to kind of be like, I understand this, I know where we're going, but I felt like that movement, it kind of threw me off a little bit, and I was just kind of like, this isn't Insidious, this isn't the devil at the end, or the demon chasing, it's
the boy, yeah.
It's a little different, like maybe try a little something different, or, maybe you just watched the Babadook, that was pretty cool, and you're like, I kind of want to do that here. There's a few story points that were, a little confusing here and there for me, but overall, I mean, this movie had everything I wanted from a James Wan movie. Lots of tension, lots of negative space that's always got like these pitch black spots where you're like, shit, there's something hiding in the darkness.
Has to be something there.
So you're never really comfortable. And then like there are these great moments, and we talked about this on the way home, there's these great moments where it's like Ed picks up a guitar and plays Elvis for the kids.
Heartwarming.
And there's a nice little montage that goes with it, and it's like a nice moment. Like, you genuinely, you got a little bit of a sense, and you like the Warrens in, the first Conjuring film. And then when you come to the second Conjuring film, you get to kind of love them a little bit. Like, you feel like you're part of the family. You understand who they are. And, it's like getting to see them dance at the end together to Elvis and, like, seeing the way they look at each other and knowing that Lorraine has seen him die and knows that he's going to die on one of these cases and she's scared. It's really cool. There's a lot of, like, for a horror movie, you don't expect to see, like, wow, this is a nice love story here, or there's genuine feeling and good acting happening here. Usually in a horror movie, it's like, I love you, Brad. I love you, Janet. And then somebody gets an axe in the chest, and it's like, oh no, it's stereotypes. But in this movie, it's when they say it, you believe it, and it's nice, and it's cool to see these. It feels like real people in these movies instead of just the stereotypical horror movie characters that you see in films nowadays. Like the kid actors, holy shit. The girl playing Janet was fantastic. Like, her sitting there under the blanket with the flashlight, shivering, crying, like, oh my god.
Fantastic work.
It was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it was just all-around great job. There wasn't any bad acting in this movie. I loved the acting. I thought the direction was great. I thought the screenwriting was great. The score was awesome. Sound design was a lot of fun. No, but it's a great movie. I think if you like horror films, you like possession-type movies and things like that, you'll dig this film. If you really like the first film, you're going to really like this film.
Yeah.
It's not better than the first. I've been seeing a lot of reviews saying it's better than the first or scarier than the first. In my opinion, it is not. I felt very scared the whole time, and it was a good adrenaline rush, but it was a different kind of scary from the first film. And maybe that's why people think it's a lot better or just completely different or even more scary. Is a different vibe. It's not the same kind of warm kind of vibe that you got from the first Conjuring. It's very cold,
dark,
pale,
it's
dark.
English.
Yeah.
It's English.
Wow.
It's like I'm telling you.
We only see the sun in the United States. We only see the sun in the United States. You know that, right?
Oh,
There's no
yeah.
sunlight in England the entire time we're there.
Yeah.
The only time we see it is when we're at the Warrens' house in New York, and there's sun coming in through the window.
Oh, I didn't even realize
That's it.
that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And
It's the Gothic.
and there's a lot of great twists and turns along the way with the story, with how she was, kind of ghost writing in her Bible, and then it comes back in the third act, and it's like, oh shit, You know,
That
like,
was the name of the demon.
like, why did you carry that torn up Bible with you? Like, wouldn't you have gotten a replacement before you went to go see the demons? But I'm just gonna let that go.
Yeah,
you know,
it would
like,
have been really cool if we could have gotten more information about the demon Valak, so that when she
Yeah.
named him, we were like, "Oh shit, it's Valak!" But we
Yeah.
were like,
Yeah, we didn't have
"Okay,
anything
that
about
seems
it.
like a weird demon name."
yeah, maybe there was like a bonus scene or something that was cut. You know, that was like that. But but regardless, we had if you want a very enjoyable, kind of smart, horror film that's not just people getting cut and boobs and everything. This is the film for you. I think you'll enjoy it a lot. We did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I had a smile the whole time.
Yeah, a smile, a few shivers, and a few face covers, which is what you want as a grown adult in a movie theater when seeing a horror film. So for the Writers' Room, that's going to do it for us this week. I am one of your hosts, Matt.
I'm Katie.
And I am Michael.
And of course, we're always coming to you from HollywoodRedux.com. Be sure to check out some of our other shows like The K-Files, starring this sweet lady right here, and our missing member, Miss Crisalia Lopez. They're on every single Wednesday on our YouTube page. And be sure to check out our guys on IGL. They're coming out tomorrow. And they'll be doing a ton of coverage this week, live throughout the week on their Twitters. We have their information below. So that's it. That's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time here on the Writers' Room. Please subscribe below if you enjoyed the episode. Leave us a comment if we missed anything from the film you liked that we didn't talk about. We'll be happy to talk with you. There it is.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for
All right,
joining
guys.
us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.